All right, so I'm here with Don MADGE, the UFC lightweight. And before we even get to the UFC, I want to go back as an introductory sort of interview. I want to go back to the beginning of not your fighting career, but the beginning of your mixed martial arts career. Where did it all start for you? How did this come about?
So basically, I came back from Thailand. I was living in Thailand fighting professional Muay Thai. And I come back to South Africa, and at that time, the UFC was like exploding. And everyone that I knew, everyone that I was sort of training with was going into MMA now. And because I couldn't really get many Muay Thai fights here, I kind of just was like, well, cool, let's do MMA then, you know. And obviously, I had fought professional kickboxing and Muay Thai in South Africa too, so I skipped the whole amateur circuit and just went straight into fighting at the UFC, you know, and I kind of just was learning as I went. So I think I trained for 6 months, and I had my first fight in 2011, MMA fight in 2011, and you know, the rest is history. Fourth fight, I was fighting for the title, and then yeah, that's pretty much it.
As you said, I mean, it all came pretty quick to you. You were still training in Cape Town at that point, correct? When you got that shot, there was a lot of controversy that day. I know that you probably been asked this question a million times, but what was going through your mind in that moment?
So yeah, when I was fighting Leon, so first of all, me and Leon had trained before, and we were like quite friendly. And I'd only had one fight before that. You know, I'd fought Wade Groth in my debut, and we got offered the fights, and I still said, and it was a co-main event, so I still said to the guys that were training me in management at the time, I said, guys, I don't think this is a good fight for my career right now. You know, I'm 20 years old. I was 21 years old when I was going to take this fight, and I was like, I've only had one MMA fight. There's a guy who's got like 18 MMA fights. It's a co-main event from the second fight. I was like, I don't think this is a good idea. But they were like, oh no, you beat him. And I was like, I know I can beat him. That's not the problem. It's like what comes next? What comes after that fight? And that's kind of like the story of my career, is that, you know, after that fight, it was just so hard to get fights that all my fights were basically like main events. And I was still learning in the sport. So, I mean, in that fight, what happened was, he hit me with a really good right hand. It was a hard right hand, but he had hit me with like a lot of right hands in the fight. It wasn't like that one was special. And I had like a really cheap one of those bite and mold mouth guards from like Discam or whatever. And as he hit me, I just felt my teeth go like grind on. So I know that feeling. I thought my mouth guard had been hit out of my mouth, because it has happened to me in Thailand before. And I've actually fought 3 times in Thailand where like I would go out into the round and sit back and realize I don't have my mouth guard. But anyway, that's a different story. So like I recognized that feeling of getting hit and feeling your teeth, and so I turned to the ref and I was like, whoa, hang on, you just hit my mouth guard out. And so then he came up to me and he was like, no, but your mouth guard's in your mouth. And I'm like, oh cool, well, let's keep going then. You know, and then like by then it was already like, you can't. So I understand that and I get it. But we've seen multiple times in MMA fights where guys do that, because their mouth guard's been hit out of their mouth, they put it back in and they reset the fight, you know, like you could see I wasn't out, I didn't drop, I wasn't out on my feet, I wasn't like stumbling all over the show, I was fine, you know, I took a shot and I was like, whoa, hey, hang on, wait. It is what it is, you know, you learn through that, but unfortunately that fight kind of like set me onto people start having expectations of you, you know, and they keep you at this level where it's like, okay, now you can't fight these guys, even though it's only your third fight. You have to only fight these guys, which is cool. Like, it's kind of made me into the fighter I am, and I'm glad that I got the losses that I do have. You know, it's only to one guy, but I'm glad, because I've tasted defeat in every way you can taste defeat. Technically, you know, I lost the TKO, I've been submitted, and I've lost the decision. So like I've felt it all, you know. So like now going into the UFC, the biggest organization in the world, it's kind of like, I'm not really scared of much.
I guess it's really hard as well when you pretty much dominate the whole fight, and then like last second something like that happens. It happens. It's the sports. We need to accept these realities.
Yeah.
The next one. Let's go on to the next step. You went and fought Castellano for the title. That was, I mean, Costa at that stage was the best.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. And then you shocked sort of the whole of the African continent. Talk us through that fight.
Yeah. So after the Leon fight, I couldn't get. Like I said, I couldn't get fights, so I got offered a guy who was from Durban. I can't remember his name, but it was my third fight, and he was the only guy that was willing to take the fight. So I won that fight in the first round. I submitted him, and then again I waited almost a year before I got my next shot, which was Castellano, because guys kept saying they would take the fight, then putting out the fight, taking the fight, then putting out the fight. So I'm just sitting there training. So when they said, "Okay, we got a fight for you, Castellano," I was like, "Well, fuck. I mean, I just want to fight." Cool. So, I mean, I knew I was gonna beat him. No one else did, because I know what I do in the gym every day and stuff. And everyone kind of thought that it was gonna be, oh, he's the striker versus grappler, and it's like, it's like one of the most frustrating things when I watch guys fight, because it's always like, okay, if you've been grappling your whole life, I might be a very good grappler, but 9 times out of 10, if you're a grappler, you're gonna get me to the ground. It's gonna happen. So where am I gonna fight you? Am I gonna try and get back to my feet where you're gonna take me down again, or should I just fight you on the ground and see what happens? So that was my mindset going into the fight with Costa. I was like, I'm not gonna defend every one of his takedowns. I'm gonna grapple this guy, and we'll see who is the better grappler. We'll see. And I think I proved that on that night.
And then becoming the champion, and then of course moving up here to Fight Fit Militia, Richard Kwan. Another thing that also changed your life, I believe, just his coaching, like his strategy, his mindset, his intelligence when it comes to the game. How much do you learn from him on a daily basis?
Dude, like, if I look back to when I first came here to Richie and to the team, and I look who I am now, dude, like, if I had to fight that guy, it wouldn't even be around. It would be domination like in a second. It's just, I always try and like think about it. I learn every single day. I'm fortunate enough that I get a chance to, I train, I literally compete against Richie every day, which is awesome. Like, how many guys get the opportunity to compete with someone on that level every single day, especially in South Africa. Our options are very, very limited in that sense. And then obviously the rest of the team, we've got a bunch of monsters in our team, and I'm very fortunate, and like I've said in lots of interviews, I owe all my success to Richie. There's no secret about it. It's not like I'm not trying to say, oh, this is me. It's like I owe all my success to Richie. I'm very, very thankful that I made the move up here, and that's what like a lot of fighters understand, is that like you have to sacrifice shit. Like, I've left my family, I've left my friends, I've left everything. I've left my business is still there. I have to travel back and forth, but like the bigger picture is the bigger picture, and that's kind of like the choice that I made.
The bigger picture also came in the next step, the UFC, and a lot of people would have looked at you at the time and said, well, your record was 7 wins, I think 3 losses at that stage, and a draw. So Boyd Allen, who's also he's a professional boxer now. Looking back then, and when you moved, do you think, oh shit, man, I'm a small, like I'm jumping in a big pond now, or did you believe you already straight from the beginning?
It's really funny, because I have this like weird thing with me, is that like the bigger the expectation, the bigger the fight, the better my performance becomes. So like, even if you look at my old fights in like the UFC, fights that like people expected me to win weren't my best performances. The fights where it's like the Castellano fights, where it's like you've got a mountain in front of you, you better climb that mountain, So for me, it's like the bigger the fight is, the bigger my performance is. Like, it's just, that's just the way it is, Like, my debut in the UFC, like, it was, no one won. I was a plus 500 underdog. Like, it's ridiculous. No one's ever a plus 500. Like, it's insane. Against a guy who's knocking everyone out in the first round, that was handpicked by the matchmakers in the UFC and was touted to be like the next guy, and then here's me coming from South Africa with a record of 7-3 and going against like this assassin. But to me, I'm like, I know how much I invest into my training, especially when I know what the stakes are, and I think that's kind of like my mentality all the time, is that I put so much pressure on myself that, even if I am outskilled or out whatever by whoever's going to fight me next, because that's the reality of fighting. There's always going to be someone that might be a bit better than you, but I believe that I have BMT, which is something that not a lot of guys are born with, and the bigger the fight, the bigger the performance is with me every time.
Now that you've got through this, I mean, the first ever South Africans to win 2 fights in the UFC, so you're technically undefeated in the UFC, pending a 3rd fight. Hopefully we get news on you soon with that. I'm assuming that might be something in April maybe.
So we're busy talking to them at the moment. The reality is that the way it works with like the UFC, right, is that if there's like any sort of like bad footing, you get put on the fucking back burner. And when after my debut, I had a different manager at the time, and I said to him, dude, don't book me for anything until April, because I haven't been on a holiday in 4 years. I'm gonna take a holiday, I'm gonna take a break. I've just been training. I just need a couple months just to decompress. I had like injuries. I was cut 3 times in that camp leading up to the fights. I got stitches here, like it was a nightmare. And I was like, I just need, so what does he do? You know, Shelby calls him and is like, hey, we got a fight for him in February. So he calls me and says, hey, I got a fight for you in February. I was like, dude, I'm away. I told you that I wasn't going to be available. He's like, oh, I just thought I'd offer it to you. Then he goes back to Shelby and he says, oh no, you can't take the fight. Instead of saying no, he's not unavailable until April, you know, and doing that properly. So then it looks like you're turning down fights, and that's not what the UFC want to hear. So I'm still trying to like rebuild that relationship a little bit. Unfortunately, it's a fickle fucking sport, you know, like everyone's running on like little power trips, and like everyone's trying to be like the main man. It's like, it's cool, I get it, I understand it. The same shit happens here with promoters and stuff here. So it's like, I know how it is. So we're trying to work through that now and get me another fight, you know. And also I had a hand injury from my last fight, which is feeling okay now. So I'm ready to take on another fight. You know, we're looking at May. I really would like to get on the Perth card, which is in June, just because I've never been to Australia. It'd be cool to go somewhere new. I always like to travel to new places if I get the opportunity to go fight there. You know, like it's cool to see new places. Yeah.
I want to know now. I've seen it on a few of your fights. You paint your nails. What's behind that? Because a lot of people probably don't know. I don't know. At least, could you let us know about that?
It started off just like, fuck, why not? You know, I don't know. It's just like I was bored.
Is it always black nails?
Depends. For my fights, usually black. But sometimes like you'll see me wearing pink. I don't know, like whatever I feel like that day. But it started off just as fun, and then like everyone started like sort of associating it with me. And like for me, it's even on my UFC debut, they came to me and like, oh, you're the guy with the black fingernails. So like now it's kind of like a thing that you stand out, you know. And in a sport where there's so many good guys and so many talented guys, like to stand out it's hard. So now that's kind of like my thing. So I'm just going with it, you know. Yeah, there's no like special reason. There's no like mystical reason.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe there was something. No.
Nah, I wish I was superstitious, but I'm not.
Now, the next stage is for you. As you said, you'd love to fight in Perth. Getting that 3rd win, it almost seems unreal for a South African to even be thinking about these sort of things. Do you feel the pressures on just you, or do you put the pressure on the team, or do you feel any pressures, or is it just purely you?
Like I said, I put a lot of pressure on myself to perform, not only in fights but in the gym. Like I put pressure every single day. If you come and watch me train, you'll see I sit, I get ready for my session, and I do my session. I perform to the best that I can. And it's the same when I fight. Every single fight, I try and give the best that I can in that fight. You know, obviously fights aren't mapped out on paper. Shit happens in fights that you just gotta. Okay, now I've got to do this now, you know, but you still got to do it to the best of your abilities. Look, man, like it takes 5 to 7 wins in a row and you're a title contender, you know. So like, I got 3 more wins in a row, and I'm looking at a title shot, you know. Like it's a real thing, and it's a real possibility, and it's something that I've always believed that I could do. You know, when I started when I started Muay Thai, I had my first fight, I got out of the ring, and I said to my mother, I said, Mom, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I said, this is what I'm going to do. Got out, and I said, I'm going to be a champion in Muay Thai. Became a champion in Muay Thai. When I started MMA, I said, I'm going to be a champion before I'm 25. I won the title at 22. Like, every single thing I say I'm going to do, I do. And I've said I'm going to be the champion of the UFC, and I'm fucking going to be the champion of the UFC. And like, it doesn't matter how long it's going to take me, but I'm going to become the champion of the UFC. It's going to happen. I'm going to bring a major world title back to South Africa, because I'm the only guy in South Africa that lives in South Africa. Only guy from the African continent that lives in Africa, trains in Africa, and represents Africa every single time I go out there. I'm not these fucking Kamaru Usman, oh, I'm African. You live in Wisconsin, motherfucker. Like, you're not African. You might have been born there, but you're not. I'm living the African, I'm living the life. You know, I'm here every day. I could go and move to America. I could go join a big team, but that's not who I am. I want to represent me and where I'm from. So I want to be that guy, man, and I believe I will.
Now, while you're out there representing South Africa, you also meet people that are overseas that have now come to South Africa to come train. We're talking about Chris Cyborg. She took the leap and came out here. I believe you and her fiance were friends. That's how you sort of came together. Now she's training with you here in South Africa. I mean, you can just talk to us about how that all came along.
So it's really funny because Ray, her fiance, he was one of the coaches at Tiger Muay Thai when I was sponsored by Tiger Muay Thai. And every now and again, like, I would go down to the jiu-jitsu side while I was fighting Muay Thai and just like go there and like try and wrestle the guys, you know, and just like, I didn't know shit, but I was like, let's try, you know. And then he entered me into like a few like little in-house comps, and I would win, you know, like, it's just like shit. So, and then he would be fighting MMA at the time, and then I'd help him with his boxing. So he knew me from like way back when I was like a kid, and he reached out to me on we'd stay in touch over the years, you know, and he reached out to me when she was gonna fight Holly Holm, and he was like, look, I know you're a good striker, you're tall, and you're a southpaw, like Holly Holm is all those things, so we'd like to bring you in and help Chris, you know. I hadn't met Chris ever, you know, it was the first time I'd been to the States. And so they flew me over. Well, I flew myself over. And then, you know, the rest is history. I helped her with that camp. She had one of the best performances, I believe. Yeah, the rest is history. You know, now we're like family. You know, every time I'm in California, I'm just living at the house. You know, like using the cars, and like I'm basically the driver. You know, but yeah, it's really cool, man. It's just like, again, she changed my life as well. Like, if I never got that opportunity, I would have never met the people that I met, and never got my foot in the door at the UFC. Because the UFC, we've been talking to them for a while. They knew exactly who I was. You know, they knew who I was. They were like, oh, you need to have a few more wins. You need to fight more guys like this, guys that are. And it's like, okay, but where? How am I gonna fight those guys? You know, how? I'm in the EFC. Like, I fight whoever the fuck they give me. You know, like that's what I can do. So like that was kind of the thing. And then luckily I signed with a manager when I was in California that was managing Chris at the time. That's the manager I was talking to you about before. And he managed to get me into the UFC, man. Yeah, we got the contract. We thought it wasn't gonna happen. I thought I was gonna have to have one more fight here in the UFC, and changed.
On Chris Cyborg's last fight, you helped to prepare overseas as well. You guys, I think, went out 3 weeks earlier. You also tweeted, I think, you either tweeted or put on Instagram a message saying that you would be a replacement fight for I think it's for the McGregor fight, if I'm correct. Were you 100% serious with that?
100%. I couldn't even throw a punch properly, but you know, you don't pass up an opportunity like that. You know, if either one of those guys was going to pull out, I was going to jump in there and fucking fight them, be like, whatever. You know?
So you were literally about to pull a cowboy on cowboy?
100%. Like, 100%. I would have fought either one of those guys with one hand, no problem. Like, happily. That'd have been really cool. And I put that tweet out just because, you know, I'm there. So like, why not? You know, I don't see a lot of guys. The thing is, everyone says they want to fight McGregor. Everyone says they want to do it. But how many people really want to fight McGregor and get hit with that left hand? How many people want to do that? I don't know. Guys like Cowboy do, because they're crazy, you know, and they're willing to take it there. I'll fight McGregor tomorrow, bro. Like, no problem. I'm not fucking scared of that guy. Never. Like, and the amount of attention you get fighting a guy like McGregor is like, you can't even put a price on that.
And in saying that, I mean, obviously McGregor's a global superstar. He's got the proper 12 whiskey now, which is, I mean, he's done so well for himself. He's put mixed martial arts. He's almost, I wouldn't say he's bigger. No one's ever bigger than the sport, but he's right up there. Would you think you'd have a realistic chance of beating him if your guards actually got it in there?
100%, definitely.
Just I'm purely basing on his stature.
100%. I'm talking, and I'm not talking from a point of like arrogance where I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna do this. I know I can beat a guy like that for sure. I've seen guys like that throughout like my martial arts career where they have like one thing that they're so good at. It's like a guy like Khabib. It's the same thing. They've got one thing that they're so good at. And a lot of guys, like I was saying before, is a lot of guys focus so much attention on that. They don't focus attention on like what I'm good at. What am I good at? Fuck what that guy's good at. I'm gonna focus on what I'm good at, and I'm gonna try and find a way to sneak that in through the gaps that he has in his game. So yeah, 100%. I'd fight Conor any day, no problem. And there's guys in the division that are much harder fights than Conor McGregor. I'll tell you that now.
I asked Richard this question. I said, what would make Don look better? A guy that, you know, fights on the ground like a grappler, a wrestler, or a stand-up fighter. Richard said, you know, styles obviously make fights. What is your opinion on that?
It depends. It depends on like so if you got a grappler, if you got a guy that's like a hungry like submission specialist, like a finisher, that's an exciting fight for me because that's my style of grappling. I'm not a fucking like hold you down motherfucker. Like I'm trying to finish you every way I can. So that makes an exciting fight. It's the same thing on the feet. If I'm gonna fight a guy that's gonna like touch me and run away, okay, it's probably gonna be a bit of a boring fight like my last fight. Like it was boring because I broke my shit and the guy wasn't there to try and bang me. He was trying to point me, you know, like you have to have a good dance partner. Like that's the thing. That's why I was excited about the first matchup that I had when I had the Russian guy, because I knew that guy was gonna stand there and we were gonna throw down, bro. Like I knew that makes an exciting fight, and that shows like what a fighter is, you know. Like for instance, if you gave a guy like Conor all of the wrestlers in the division, you're not gonna show how exciting he is. But you pick certain fights that can accentuate his style, which is exciting. That's what it's about, you know. Like so for me, it's not really what type of fighter, if they're a ground fighter, if they're striker, it's the way that they want to fight. Are they trying to finish? Are they finishers? That's an exciting guy. You know, if I'm gonna fight a grappler who's a finisher, that's exciting to me because I know we're gonna be going. We're gonna exchange, and that's like it's like having a conversation with someone. Like if you and me are both have a good vocabulary and you speaking and I'm speaking, it makes an interesting conversation. But if you're saying one word to me and I'm trying to get more stuff out of you, like it becomes a stupid conversation. So that's kind of like my mindset when it comes to my opponents. I want guys that are gonna bring out the best in me and me to be able to show the best parts of my game. So if it was on the ground, if a guy's just like laying and holding you down, it's kind of hard to show what you can do on the ground. Whereas if a guy's like engaging and he's trying to work with you, then it's like, okay, now we can start to play a bit, you know. And that's kind of, so fuck, anyone who fits that category is a good fight for me.
It's like your first fight. I mean, you got the performance bonus for that fight as well. Yeah. Jeez, what a fight. I mean, I don't think you can get a better debut than that. Yeah. Especially against the contender who you rightfully said was being built up. You're basically on his building blocks. Yeah, you're supposed to be a stepping stone for him. But it turned around and now you are the one getting opportunities to showcase yourself. I want to know if you have any heroes in the sports. Do you have anyone that you looked up to when you're younger?
Yeah, just absolutely. When I first got into MMA, the guy that I looked up to the most was George St. Pierre. I thought he was unbelievable because he came from very similar story to me. You know, he came from like a exclusively striking martial arts, and he became the most dominant grappler, which is like crazy because it's often a lot harder for a striker to become proficient at grappling than it is for a grappler to become proficient at striking. For whatever reason that is, I don't know, but it is the way it is, you know. You see a lot of wrestlers now in the UFC that like are really good strikers. They can like bang guys out, you know. but there's very few exceptional strikers that are good wrestlers. So it's like a funny thing, you know. And I saw George St. Pierre as like a great example for a young mixed martial artist to aspire to, you know. Now, guys like John Jones, I mean, inside the octagon, you know, he's a huge role model of mine. I love the way he fights because he knows exactly what kind of fighter he is.
Would you say he's the best of all time?
Definitely, I'd say the best of all time.
Could be GSP as well.
Could be GSP and could be Mighty Mouse too.
Good call.
I mean, jeez, it's difficult to say, man. I'd say my top four would be John Jones, George St. Pierre.
Surely Anderson Silva cuts in there somewhere. Not even?
Nah. Because the thing about a great fighter, for me, is they know where to stop. So George St. Pierre knew where to stop. Anderson should have stopped. He should have stopped long ago.
So he ruined his legacy.
Ruined his legacy, and the greatest always know where to stop. That's why I don't, as much as I love Mike Tyson, I don't think he's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time because he didn't know when to stop, dude. He was starting to lose fights that like the real Mike Tyson would never have lost. You know what I mean? Like, so that's like kind of why I don't put Anderson in there. I'd say Khabib's one of the greatest for sure, and Mighty Mouse, yeah.
All right, and I'll ask this to Rich as well.
Yeah.
Again, boxing, because obviously it's a boxing show. I can't escape without asking a boxing question. Would you ever be able to do the crossover?
It's so funny you say that because at one point in my career, I had met up with a promoter. I was gonna go pro boxing, just because the opportunities and stuff in South Africa wasn't enough. They weren't paying enough, and you know, I'm not gonna name names and stuff. But in Cape Town, you know, I sparred with like a lot of guys that were like junior middleweight champions, African champions, fucking whatever. The amount of guys I've knocked out in boxing sparring, like you'd be surprised. Guys that have held titles and that still hold titles have been knocked out by me. So like at that point I was kind of like, maybe I should box, you know. And it's funny. It was during the camp that I was preparing for Boyd because I tore my PCL on my knee, so I couldn't do anything else for the whole camp. I couldn't wrestle. That's why the fight was a boxing fight.
It was a stand up, yeah.
I mean, I threw like very few kicks. I basically just tried to outbox him, you know. And that's why, is because I couldn't wrestle, I couldn't grapple, I couldn't kickbox, I couldn't do anything. So all I was doing was boxing, and that's actually when I was starting to like dabble with the idea of going the boxing route. You know, if the only thing with boxing is that it's still old school. So like they want you to fight like fucking 4-rounders first, and then this, and then that. So it's like cool. I would have done that maybe 5 years ago, but like now it's like.
Yeah,
if you want me to fight boxing, put me in a 10-rounder for a title. Cool, we'll go, no problem. Yeah, I'll do that for sure if the right guy comes with the right offer, for sure, definitely.
I mean, if you look at Boyd's career, I mean, his did start off like that, but it was relatively quick steps up to the top. So now he fought for a title in I think his fourth fight. Mm-hmm. So in looking at him, I mean, you guys fought to a draw, but you guys are stable mates and you'd help each other. You guys still help each other to this day with boxing training. I mean, looking at his roots and his success, I mean, even to this day, like one day, I'm not saying now, because right now you're in a good position with the UFC. Yeah. You got things going for you, but come on, like one day. Dude,
man, like I said, I come from striking, so it's always something that I've thought about doing, and you know, if for whatever reason I decide to go that route, like the next option for me would definitely be pro boxing. Like if ever I was like bored of MMA or done with MMA, pro boxing would definitely be the route to go. And I think I could do pretty well.
I think so. Well, from hearing all the stories that you just said, I'm pretty sure. And obviously Boyd's a good boxer, he's doing his thing. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be there to support him?
100%. I'm at all of his fights, man. Oh yeah, I love Boyd. He's it's something crazy about when you spend 25 minutes punching each other in the face. You like, even before we became teammates, I had like a huge respect for him, just because, you know, 25 minutes of smashing each other in the face is like, it's you get this like a bond that you get that's different. So, you know, I'm Boyd's #1 fan. You know, Boydie.
I'm sure you'll watch this. Yeah.
Yeah.
To round it up, Don, thank you very much for speaking to us. Obviously, I want to come in before you fight again. I'd love to do an interview pertaining to your next opponents and when you get all the news. So if we could get that done, that would be great.
Definitely.
And just lastly from you, thank you for the interview today. I really do appreciate your time. And do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, just if you guys want to follow me at MADGE MMA, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as much support as I can get, the better. Thank you.